Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of any of the other channels? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time, they talk down to us, they think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about LeBron James. There's some rumors going around that he's looking to be traded, and it's hard to imagine because I don't know who the heck the Lakers are trading him for, and who's going to trade at this point, and where he would want to go. I don't think LeBron's going to go to the Celtics, for instance, or he's not going to go to the Nuggets. And so then the real question is what team is really good but is missing a piece? It could have been the Sixers, but Embiid going down, who knows? And not to mention, the Sixers, they would need Max. The team that would be making a trade with the Sixers would want Maxey, and the Sixers aren't going to get rid of Maxey. Maxey's their future, and so you're not going to do that. And you're obviously not going to trade Embiid either, any of those things. Not to mention, you've already seen the Sixers, you've already seen LeBron with an injury-prone big too, AD, and it's like, yeah, that worked when you had a long layoff and we're in the bubble, but that has not proven to work in any other season. So it's hard. So then the one of the other things is the Knicks. But again, there's a lot of moving pieces for that. But the real thing that stands out to me right now is it says LeBron on trade deadline, not a question for me. Oh, okay, right. Now he doesn't have an opinion. The dude's got an opinion and a voice and wants to be all secretive with his towels and his little emojis and all this. But now he's like, not a question for me. That's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy about LeBron. So disingenuous.
Except for him.
All right, do the Lakers need to make a move before the trade deadline?
Well, I like LeBron's answer. I mean, that's what you should say. I love everybody in the locker room. We just got to get together. They need to make a move to be a championship team, yes, because I don't think this is a championship team. But I don't know what move is out there. Like, it would have to be like a Steph Curry adding him or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. Like what DeJounte Murray, there's been talk about that. They need two things. They need three-point shooting and long and athletic, maybe one or two more defenders, because especially with Jared Vanderbilt being hurt.
So can I ask you a question? Because I just want to get an idea of where your head's at as far as where they are. Zach LaVine's done for the year, but he was a guy that was attached to him.
Right.
If they had traded for Zach LaVine, D'Lo and Rui for Zach LaVine, would that have, do you think that's how far away they are?
Because
okay, that's why I wonder.
Zach LaVine would not play. I think he'd have a tough adjustment. It's always an adjustment playing with LeBron, especially if you're that third guy. And D'Angelo Russell is actually, last month and a half, he's averaging like 22 points a game. Austin Reeves is good. Like, I actually think their supporting cast is pretty good. Rui is good. Torian Prince. Jackson Hayes is long and athletic.
I like him.
So I don't see the move out there for them. But when I look at the West and I get where they're at in the standings, OKC is young. And so LeBron and AD with their experience, Minnesota is young. I'm not saying they beat those teams in the playoffs, but, you got the experience and you got two guys that know how to get it done. To me right now, and this could change, but right now, the only two teams I see definitively like Lakers, they're not going to beat them, is Denver. And if they stay healthy, the Clippers. Okay. If they stay healthy. Phoenix is maybe it could go either way, but you know what I mean? So they just have to zero in on what they do and get the vibes right and focus on some defense. And
it just goes to show you how useless that whole the whole in-season tournament was, because the Lakers won and they were hanging a banner and it was like this big thing and this, that, and yet they're struggling to even make it in the play-in for the playoffs right now for the Lakers, and no one really sees them as a legit title contender. And even if they made some trades, it would have to be a really big name player, not even LaVine. Even obviously he's hurt now, but even that, it's would anyone really believe that makes them contenders now? I don't think so. And so it's just to me that really just kind of highlights how silly that whole thing was. But I think with the Lakers, what they would need to do is, I guess there's really two questions that you have to ask, right? Does LeBron want to try to win with the Lakers and try to get other players? Or does he just want to be traded somewhere else where he can contend? And again, the question is like, where could he possibly contend? Would he go to Minnesota? And then the whole thing is like, who do you have to give up for that, right? It's not like, it's a lot different when you're just signing as a free agent, because then he could just be like, all right, let's form a super team. It's a lot easier to build a super team that way rather than trade for it, so to speak. But this is where LeBron's kind of in a tough spot, because I don't think he's going to want to be traded mid-season. I think for him, considering to be like a big-time superstar like that, being traded mid-season just feels weird. You don't really see it, honestly, outside of these other superstars who have never really been able to do much, like in terms of actually winning championships, or they're known as like the disgruntled superstar, like the James Hardens of the world and stuff like that. Then it's just, and I don't think LeBron James wants to be seen on that level. So I can't imagine that LeBron James is really going to, approve of a trade mid-season. That's just, I would be shocked, truly, truly shocked. So then the real question is so then what can the Lakers do? And I don't think the Lakers can do anything right now, because you're going to have to you would have to rebuild this team mid-season, because some of the trades you're going to have to make are going to be key players that you would have had to have that you've been playing with now. So you're going to be pretty much starting from scratch, for the Lakers. And kind of like Brew was saying, that there's an adjustment period. And I just don't think LeBron is in that point in his career where he can just effortlessly do that now. It's just not as smooth of a transition, and he can't pick up the slack during those growing pains. Once upon a time, LeBron would have been able to pick up the slack during these growing pains, and now he's not. And it's one thing if there was a big trade to make for like a Damian Lillard, or, or James Harden, even. Obviously, not anymore. But like if they were still having these issues and James Harden was still trying to get away from the Sixers at the time, that would have maybe made a little bit more sense. But to trade a bunch of, twos and threes, essentially, for other twos and threes, I'm not seeing where that is. It's one thing if you had the ability to get another big score, another big player, another one that's really going to have a big, something that's beyond just a role player. But if you're just trading role players for other role players, that doesn't do anything for you. You needed to get a team that either they tried to form a super team, but it just didn't work out too well. Again, or you had a bunch of these big names, like when you had the Sixers having Joel Embiid and James Harden wanted to leave, so like that kind of works out. Or back with Damian Lillard trying to leave Portland and then wanting to go, then being traded over to Milwaukee. Like, those are the types of trades that give you a next step up. Or you do what the Golden State Warriors did a few years ago and get Andrew Wiggins, right? Andrew Wiggins, they saw, oh God, this guy can really be elite when he doesn't have to be a leader. When he's around the right guys and with the right coach, we can really maximize him. He's not good maybe to be the number one every single game, but at moments in the game, we need him to be the number one, or just for a game, can he do it? And he proved that he was able to do it, and obviously won, and he was absolutely crucial for that Warriors of winning that championship that one year. And again, I don't really know how many of those players exist right now, or that are at least on the trading block right now. I mean, those players of course exist, but I just don't know who's giving them up. Right? You're not going to get, Karl Anthony Towns, right? It's one thing if Cat was really disgruntled, and he was Minnesota and he's like, oh, I'm just, sick of this. I don't want to be here with Ant anymore, right? Then it's like, okay, you can make a trade, you get Cat, and now maybe something could be different, right? Like, to me, those are the only kind of bigger moves. And the argument was that LaVine would be that if you put LaVine in this environment with a LeBron James and an AD, that he would have been able to really thrive, that you're not asking him to be the number one option. But at certain points of the game, maybe when you need him to, or when LeBron's not on the floor, AD's not on the floor, you can really rely on him because he is a little bit younger, more athletic, and can kind of do these things. And again, kind of not unlike what the Warriors did with Wiggins, but he's injured now. So I don't really think the Lakers really have any options right now, and they're definitely in a tough situation. And so the real thing is do you want to get rid of some of your pieces that you could either use to continue to build into the future or trade when you're less desperate, right? Like making more moves in the offseason. And then this was the Lakers' fault. They thought that they could just not really do too much in the offseason, and they thought, Reeves was this big guy. And I kept pointing out Reeves is not this, unstoppable force. Everyone thought that, okay, this is just the beginning of Reeves. He's going to be, that dude LeBron was dancing and everyone was getting all excited. And I was like, guys, he's like, we're acting like he's a Hall of Famer, but the reality is I can't even compare him to a player right now, honestly. But it's just like, yeah, can he get hot? Sure, lots of players can get hot. Sure, can he make some big shots? Yes, lots of players can make big shots. Can you rely on him game after game, day after day? No, the answer is no. And so they were expecting this, and they thought Rui was going to be this big guy, and they thought D'Lo, all right, we'll get him right, and all this, and you can't expect to be better than you were last year when your key players were playing at the top that they were able to play. And so you have to imagine that they're going to take a step back. And your other better players, aka LeBron James and AD, that they're slowly going down. Unfortunately, Father Time is undefeated. So I don't know why the Lakers ever thought that they were going to be as competitive as last year when you have players that were playing beyond of what their norm is, and other players where they're great, but they are slowly declining. So this is really on the Lakers' fault, quite honestly. I really think the whole thing between the Lakers and LeBron, it's really been a disaster. They got really lucky with that championship in the bubble. And if they didn't have that bubble and LeBron and AD weren't able to just rest for months and heal up, they would have not won the NBA Finals. And then this whole Lakers thing would have been the Lakers would have never really even sniffed a championship. So to me, the fact that they won that bubble kind of masks kind of the issues and kind of the disaster that the whole Lakers acquisition has been for LeBron. But they see it as a positive because, hey, he still won, and that's still great. And there you go. And it's like, that was under very, very specific circumstances. You take that away, and LeBron has not really built a true, unstoppable, dominant team, which is a kind of a shame if you're a LeBron James fan, because LeBron James clearly over the last 4 or 5 years or whatever has had a lot of prime years left in him. And I don't even mean like prime years. I just mean really, really great, good years. He could obviously still win and especially a few years ago, even continue to carry a team. Now you're really at the end of that. The tread on the tires are just bare. And what do you expect? You're really expecting LeBron James right now to really be able to go on a run in the playoffs and carry a team? There's just no way. I'm just not seeing it. Going on the road, traveling, going to game 6 or game 7. LeBron James was struggling last playoffs with that. He's a year older. You think it's just going to be the same? It's not. And even if you get a 1% drop, that's enough to do you in. So those are my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think the Lakers should do? What do you think LeBron should want to do? Should he want to stay with the Lakers, keep the team as is, try to get other pieces? Does he just concede that this is just not going to be a championship year, and then he just wants to be a free agent and do something different next year? Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.